Hi guys, it's Kirsten and welcome back to my channel. So if you are in Canada, then happy Canada Day! And if you're not, then happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, July the 1st. So I was planning on doing all of this book haul in one giant montage video. However, I've realized that there's actually just too many books to include in one video. So I'm going to be making this into two parts. The first part I'm going to do today, and it is all secondhand books, and then the second part I will post at a later date, and that will be all of the online book shopping that I did, because June was just, it was a no self-control, treat yourself kind of book month. So I live in a big city, but about an hour and a half away there is this really pretty, really popular touristy city. So 2 days ago I went up there with one of my best friends and we hit this really cute secondhand bookshop called Cafe Books. They were just really cute. They had a section of new books, a section of old books, and then all of these bookish merchandise, that kind of thing. So this was a really, really cute place. I got just a couple of secondhand books while I was there, so I'll show you those ones first. The first one I found was this True Canadian Amazing Stories, Pirates and Privateers. I've got a little bit of a pirate kick going. I've been reading a lot of pirate books, so I just thought this little short stories collection might be kind of fun. I also got the 5th installment of Tokyo Ghoul. I have actually been really looking forward to reading this. I don't own the others yet, but since this was in a secondhand bookstore. It was in the bookstore. Since it was at a secondhand bookstore, this was really cheap, so I thought I would pick it up, and one day I will end up getting to the series. And then lastly, at that bookstore, I found this paperback edition of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I've wanted to pick this up just because Emma from Emma Books talks about it all the time, and now everybody that I've seen since then who has read it has ended up absolutely adoring it, so I will probably pick this up fairly soon. The last thing that I got at that little bookstore was this pin, and it says, "I'm not to be trusted in a bookstore with a credit card." So I'm not sure how well that might show up, but that's me, as is very evident by this incredibly huge book haul. When we came back to the city on that same day, we stopped at my favorite bookstore in the city where I live, and it is half and half. The upstairs is all new books and the downstairs is all secondhand and bargain books. So I got this little stack from there. So the first thing I found was actually just this workbook that I thought was kind of cool, and it's the Simon & Schuster. Okay, real life humans came to my door. What? Okay. Let's try this again. Simon & Schuster's workbook for writers. I just thought, you know, maybe one day I'll write a book. Doesn't everybody on BookTube write a book? I'm pretty sure they do. So now I'm prepared for whenever that happens. So I got the second and the first book in the Tierling series. I accidentally bought the third off of Book Outlet without realizing it was the third. So I picked up the first and the second, and these were both $5. I also got The Doll People because Brian Selznick illustrates in this book, and I will read anything that Brian Selznick illustrates. So there's some photos and whatnot in the, oh! I also got a surprise bookmark, so winning. There's all the illustrations inside, and I'm excited for that one. And then I got this really pretty hardcover edition of The Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer. I love the Odyssey, I have read it, and I actually already own a copy, but this is just a prettier copy, so I grabbed it and I'll donate mine. But yeah, it's gorgeous, and it's got these gold edged pages, and the insides is pretty. It's got a little thing. Okay. I also found in the used section this French edition of The Little Prince. I own an English edition, but I originally read it in French, so I was hoping to be able to find a French copy one day, so I was really excited when I saw that. The last thing that I got at that bookstore was this sort of coffee table type book, and it's called By the Book, Writers on Literature and the Literacy Life from the New York Times Book Review. I picked this up only because I recognized this random little doodle sketch of J.K. Rowling, and then after I was holding it, I realized that I absolutely needed it. It's so, so cool. It's almost like interview style questions with all of these really, really, really popular authors, and it's all about the writing process, and so I was really excited about this random find. The next stack I got all on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know if Marketplace is like a worldwide thing. I think it probably is. For anybody who doesn't know, Marketplace is just this kind of side of Facebook where you can buy and sell used items. So I got a couple things on there. I got the first and the second books in the Magnus Chase series. I actually already owned the first one from when I read it, but it was a paperback, so these were both like $4, so I bought them both together. I also got all 3 of the Smoke and Bone books, which is really exciting, Laini Taylor's trilogy. I also got the first 3 books in the Abhorsen series. I picked these up because Jamie Devours Books over on Instagram recommended them during my Pride Month book tag, and so when I saw them on there for like $5 for all 3, I thought I would grab them and give them a read. And then my last little pile, which is actually the biggest pile so far, is actually from the secondhand store near my house. As some of you who came from my Bookstagram may know, I have just recently moved, and so I just had a whole bunch of things that I needed to bring and drop off at the thrift store near my house. So I immediately went inside of said thrift shop and looked at their books, and there was just so many books there that I wanted to pick up. What's the fastest way to get through this? And when you're in a secondhand store and you find books that you're even remotely interested in, you grab them because they're like $3 or something, and I also got 30% off the entire purchase at the end, which is very cool. I was very excited. So the first thing that I'm just so happy to show you guys is this French edition of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I am actually bilingual. I took French immersion all through school, but now now that I'm done school and now I'm out of classes, I don't actually find reason very often to speak French. So I've been hoping to pick up a French book just to, like, you know, keep it fresh, keep it like in my mind, that kind of thing. So I'm like really excited that I found this, as well as this French copy of the first book of the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan. I have not actually read the Kane Chronicles. I am currently trying to catch up on the Rick Riordan books because I am very, very behind. So hopefully I can pick that one up soon and maybe I'll actually read it in French. I also found Stolen by Lucy Christopher, which is, you know, a kidnapping story. A man called Uwe? I've heard it pronounced so many different ways that I'm actually not sure how I'm supposed to say it, but I found this paperback edition, and since it's in like a little bit like rougher shapes, it's got like these curled edges and things, it was only 50 cents. Win! I also got 2 of the companion books for the Rick Riordan series. The Demigod Diaries and Demigods and Magicians. I also found this cute little book, which I had never heard of, but it's called Politically Correct Bedtime Stories, Modern Tales for Our Life and Times. I hope that this is as hilarious as I want it to be. I found the pretty edition of Little Women. I also got the second and third book in this Libba Bray series. I already own the first. The first was given to me by a friend who read it and loved it. It's one of her favorite books and she had multiple editions, so she gave me her paperback that matches this set. And so when I saw the second and third at the thrift store, I had to get them. I haven't read the first yet. I don't know if I like it, but I trust her judgment. And now I have the whole series. I also got The Future of Us by Jay Asher and Carolyn Mackler, which are the authors of 13 Reasons Why and The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things. I haven't actually heard of this book, but I like both of those authors, so I figured I would give it a try. And then I got 2 random graphic novels, kind of, at least graphic novel kind of format. So this one, I believe, is also all poetry inside, and it's called So Cool by Dennis Lee. And then This one is called Unlikely by Jeffrey Brown. But if you flip the book, and this is why I grabbed it, I just thought it was so funny. Unlikely, and then you flip it, or How I Lost My Virginity. 250 pages of young love, sex, drugs, heartbreak, and comedy. This seems really funny. I read the first like 3 pages while I was standing in the store, and it already had me giggling. This is a memoir told in graphic novel format. As you can see from the beginning, it's called Unlikely, a true love story, and I just think it's going to be too cute. Lastly, in that giant pile, I have The Beauty of Darkness, which is the first book, I believe, in the Remnant Chronicles, by Mary E. Pearson. I don't actually remember what this is about at all. Jo from Not So Average Jo here on YouTube. I will link her channel below in case you haven't seen her. You definitely should check her out. She just read this series and absolutely loved it, and I do trust her judgment. So when I saw this at the secondhand store, I just grabbed it. But yeah, I think that is all of the books that I purchased, which is, I said that like it wasn't a lot, but I know it's a lot. There's a lot of books. If you think that I should prioritize any of these and read them first, then you should definitely let me know in the comments below. But thank you for sticking with me for this really long haul, and I will see you far too soon for another book haul. Bye-bye! There isn't a little light on the front of my camera. Does that mean you're not recording?